So this will be a part series that will be covered through a time. I won't go over every racing game within 2019, but I'll go over some of them, like Dirt Rally 2 and Need for Speed Heat. But I'm going to list some of the priorities people want in a game in my reviews. These being the price, the story, playability, online/split screen, graphics, detail, car sound, physics, and the overall review in the end. This will be put out of 10, and I hope you enjoy. So, the game in choice is a Grand Tour game. Now, this game is $27 Canadian, which is pretty cheap. And to this date, I don't think it has gone down in price. So, again, the price is $27. Now, the story of this game isn't really a story. It's because it's the show, the Grand Tour, it's basically a game based off it, and you play as these characters. So I guess there's a story in a sense, but I don't know. It's fun to play as. There's about 8 to 10 hours worth of the single player mode in this game, and I'm about to leave just some clips of the story, or, well, the show rather, that is present in the game.
Still, it could be worse. And then it was, because it was time to sit down for Richard's Scottish dinner. Battered spag bowl, followed by a deep-fried cake.
Oh God!
Did he just crash it?
Was that a crash, or did he just disappear behind the...
You're on the bus.
I scored naught.
Naught?
Yeah.
Nobody get naught.
Well, it's quite interesting. You see, I didn't have an Instagram account, so I set one up. No, but
That's a
hang on.
surprise.
No, but I set one up, and then as I was setting it up, I realised there was someone else on Instagram pretending to be me. So I filled in that reporting thing that pulls down, you know, and I sent it off. And all credit to Instagram, they reacted very quickly by that afternoon, in fact, and they shut me down.
You?
Yeah, they didn't shut down the fake James May. They shut the real one down.
They killed the wrong James May.
Yeah.
So I forgot to review the price at the start, but it's a really cheap game actually, so I'll give it a 7.5. And the story, because you pretty much just play from, well, the trio, or Abby, I'll just give the story a 2. But now done with the single player, let's go into the multiplayer. We have the Grand Prix, which is basically a championship, or face-off, which is essentially your own custom race. Here is a selection of what you can do in the multiplayer, for the face-off at least. I can't remember the Grand Prix, but basically you can't play online, but only split screen. 4 players and 4 AI max. I mean, it's not many, but still some. And the amount of maps in this game aren't the worst, but they're relatively small maps. So, in playability, we have a fairly decent story, and multiplayer, it's actually really fun with friends. So for playability, I mean, actually, it does kind of get boring quickly by yourself, but with friends, I've never not had fun. So for playability, by yourself, I'd give it a 3. But with friends, an 8 actually, like, surprisingly an 8. I'll admit that. So I'll combine that at, what, 5.5? Next is the graphics and details. The graphics in this game are not the worst, I will admit. They are pretty at some points, especially in the background. I will admit that I actually love the background of this game in lots of the maps. It looks really good. The cars have decent reflections. Sometimes it varies on the car. And I mean, I don't know. It just kind of varies on your environment, map, etc. In some maps it looks pretty, in some maps it just doesn't look that good. But, I will admit, this game does have some details. I couldn't really find much on the cars, since you can't zoom in or anything in camera mode. But on Switzerland, for instance, I found like the water actually moves nicely. It's fluent. So for Essentially, the graphics detail, I will give it a 6. The car sound is also really good in this game, actually. The sounds of the cars in this game are pretty realistic, I found. So, I don't know what else to say. I'll give it a 9. The physics. Pretty much the last thing here. The physics, they're really arcadey, I will admit. But it was intended to be an arcade game, so what are we expecting, right? They do feel really weird to get used to. I will admit that. So bear that in mind if you buy this game. Otherwise, it does feel nice once you get used to it. It's not the worst feeling, but it still feels whack. Crashing physics are not that good. But with the gadgets all, it's pretty fun to screw around with friends. I forgot with that with playability. But with the gadgets, it does tend to screw around with your physics with like what you're about to see here, my fireworks gadget here. So, for an arcade game, you have to acknowledge it as an arcade game. I'll give it a 6. The overall review is 36 out of 60, or 60%. So that doesn't look appealing, I understand. But stay with me on this. Single player and multiplayer was combined in this. And the single player brought it down a lot. I would not get this game if you're looking for single player. But if you have lots of friends, I would recommend getting this game. Because with split screen, it's actually a really fun game. Like, there's endless hours of just screwing around with your friends on this. So, with multiplayer, I'd probably give it about a 75, personally. But single player, 50 or under. Otherly, get it if you're looking for multiplayer, and don't get it for single player. I hope you find this useful. I'm probably going to get like 6 views, but oh well. I hope whoever watches this has a nice day, Chief.